Maryland fans saw a glimmer of hope when the football team led number 3 Ohio State in the first quarter, but the dream of an upset quickly dwindled. Maryland men's soccer grabbed its second win of the season, one it's been desperately searching for, and volleyball got swept at home after a top 20 win the night before. All of that and more coming up on the Left Bench.
I got to be better, knowing me, I have all this experience, and those are situations that I got to be ahead of the game with.
I thought they were really, not just resilient, but intentional in what they were trying to get accomplished.
Hello everyone, and welcome into the Left Bench, brought to you by Turp Sports Central. I'm Alexa Wootten, joined alongside Matthew Neus. And Matt, this Maryland football team was oh so close to capturing its signature win against Ohio State.
Yeah, you're right. After so many close calls against the Buckeyes over the recent years, they just came up short yet again. Maryland football traveled to Columbus this weekend to accomplish something they've never done before, beat Ohio State. But even after a 10-point lead, the Terps couldn't finish the job. Maryland got off to a hot start after a botched punt gave the Terps great field position. Caden Prather would get the Terps on the board first with this one-handed grab. It was all Maryland until a costly throw from Talia Tungavaloa wound up in the hands of Ohio State's Josh Proctor, leading to a pick six. The Terps and Buckeyes would trade blows, notching the score at 10 apiece. But with the half winding down and the Terps in the red zone, a huge defensive stop from Ohio State prevented Maryland from getting the lead. Come the start of the second half, the Terps regained the lead, but the offense soon fizzled out. Kyle McCord and the Buckeyes offense took advantage by scoring 27 unanswered points. Costly mistakes led to Maryland falling to the Buckeyes 37-17. Here's what head coach Michael Loxley had to say on why the Terps couldn't get it done in Columbus.
For us to take that next step, we've got to be able to make the plays that are there to be made. We had a couple of situations in the first half. We didn't come away with touchdown down inside the 5. We didn't get a 4th and 1. And those are the types of plays where our best players got to show up, make plays, and we've got to do a better job as a coaching staff of putting them in those positions to make plays.
Mistakes, turnovers, miscommunication, and a whole lot more went into Maryland football's loss to the Buckeyes. Our Ricky Podgorski has more on a few of the game-changing play calls and errors that led to the first loss of the season for the Terps.
With a 10-0 lead in the second quarter, Maryland football seemed to be in the driver's seat against number 4 Ohio State. But with the Buckeyes in their grasp, that lead began to crumble. One mistake after the next.
Mental mistakes, turnovers, play calling, a lot went wrong for Maryland against Ohio State. But to sum it all together, Maryland offensive errors allowed the Buckeyes to blast this one wide open, shutting down the Terps after a hot start.
A 24-yard pick six got OSU on the board. It was the first glimpse of some Maryland mishaps.
You give up a pick six there. When you watch the tape, the receiver's supposed to turn inside, he turns outside. That's a communication issue. There's the ball should have been thrown inside. We should have had a receiver inside. But
First interception, quick game. Trying to get the ball out. I just put on the wrong shoulder. Obviously, they had a touchdown off of that.
The Terps were then in the red zone with just a few seconds to spare in the first half, and Talia Tagovailoa throws a check down, and the Buckeyes get the stop. No score, tied up at 10.
To check the ball down, we wanted to take a shot in the end zone. We had 12 seconds on the clock. You take a shot. If it's not there, you kick the field goal. What you don't want to do is check it down in that situation, which we did, and we prevented ourselves from, again, taking points before the half.
Ohio State would eventually overtake the lead in the second half, and it's Maryland with a chance. But the offense was stopped after running the ball not once, not twice, not 3 times, but for all 4 downs in their very own territory. Turnover on downs, Ohio State score.
I got to be better, knowing me, I have all this experience, and those are situations that I got to be, ahead of the game with.
If Maryland wants to be in conversations with the powerhouses of the Big Ten, the Terps will have to clean up the mental errors and miscommunications.
For us to take that next step, we've got to be able to make the plays that are there to be made. Our best players got to show up, make plays, and we've got to do a better job as a coaching staff of putting them in those positions to make plays.
For Turp Sports Central, I'm Ricky Podgorski.
And I was watching the game Saturday on my phone, and when we went up 10-0, I thought what every single Terps fan was thinking. Are we actually going to win this thing?
Yeah, I felt the same way. You know, they're looking for that signature win. They had a chance on Saturday against a top 5 team at Ohio State, but it's their own mistakes that cost them the game.
I know, and it's just sad to see it all crumble, especially nonetheless in the fourth quarter. Another team that took a loss to a Big Ten foe this weekend was Maryland volleyball against Indiana. Terps were on a high after a top 20 win the night before, but it was short-lived after a sweep by the Hoosiers. Terps powered through the beginning of the first set as they were able to take a 16-10 lead early on. But Indiana was not too far behind. They went on a 15-2 run and scored 7 unanswered points, taking the first 25-18. The second set was a back-and-forth affair the entire time, with both teams trading blocks and kills. But it was Indiana once again who took the set 25-19. Maryland was in trouble and needed to regain control of the match, and they did just that to start the third set, leading Indiana until the middle when the Hoosiers took a 13-12 lead. The Terps tried to make a comeback, but it wasn't enough. They dropped the set 20-25 and the match 3-0. Here's what head coach Adam Hughes had to say after the match.
We were farther out of system than they were, and I thought they did a good job then turning those into like higher quality, higher probability swings. So just able to get some of those digs into transition opportunities to get the middles going.
We just recapped Maryland volleyball's defeat to Indiana, and we are now glad to be joined by Josh Panepento, who is the Maryland volleyball beat writer for Turp and Sports Central.
Josh, thanks for coming on with us.
Thank you guys for having me.
All right, so to start it off, Josh, we just broke down Maryland's loss to Indiana, but they had that huge win over number 16 Minnesota on Friday. What worked for the Terps on Friday that wasn't necessarily working on Saturday?
Yeah, that's a great question. So on Friday, they faced number 16 Minnesota, obviously, and they were able to get a comeback win. Took 5 sets. The big difference between Friday and Saturday, I would say, is Sam Sire, the star outside hitter senior. She had 20 kills, a season high on Friday, and then wasn't really getting it going on Saturday, and ended up getting benched after the first set.
Yeah, and then before conference play started, they took 2 trips to Florida, went 5-1 over a 6-match period. How big was that trip for them, before heading into the conference season?
Yeah, that was a very big trip because they faced some really good teams. They had their one loss during the Florida trips were to Miami, who's very good. And they faced Florida Gulf Coast, who another very good team. So I think just having those high-powered teams during what they call the preseason and being able to have that high tempo, just being able to adjust to that makes the transition a little bit smoother into the Big Ten.
And then you just mentioned high-powered teams transitioning to the Big Ten. Currently, 6 Big Ten teams are ranked in the NCAA's AVCA's top 25 rankings. How does this level of talent just within the Terps' own conference kind of help prepare them to be a better team in the future?
Yeah, so this is a big point of emphasis for Coach Hughes. He really has talked about how great the Big Ten is and how much he wants to be able to compete with these schools. So just kind of like being able to retain their really good players like Sam Sire, bringing in these high-powered transfers like Samantha Schnitta, that's really helped them to prepare for the high-tempo play of the Big Ten.
Yeah, and then, the Terps, they sit 3-3 so far in the Big Ten season. They went 7-13 last year. Do you think they get better than that or worse than that this year?
I think they get better than that. They already have 3 wins, and they still have a month and a half to go. And again, like I said earlier, they brought in some really good transfers, like Lily Gunter from Mississippi State, and they have Sam Schnitta from Ole Miss. They brought in some really good freshmen, too. So I think the sky's the limit for them this year.
Well, Josh, thank you so much for coming on and talking about the team with us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
You can keep up with Josh's coverage on X at Josh Panepento and at TurpandSportsCentral.com. Now don't go anywhere because when we come back, we'll recap a busy weekend of Maryland field hockey, women's soccer, and men's soccer.
And we'll also be joined by TSC's own Sam Jane to discuss the offensive struggles plaguing men's and women's soccer. Stay with us.
I tell my son, I love you every single day. I love you. Now, my dad has never said that to me. Not because he doesn't love me, but because culturally it wasn't comfortable for him. Now that he's a grandfather, he says, I love you to my son every time he sees him. My advice to all the fathers out there, forget the cultural restrictions. They grow up way too fast for you to waste even a single precious moment.
I think I finally found.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Mason.
Hey, Mason.
Got a new house. It's looking pretty cool so far. place that I call home.
I'm teaching Louise how to cook some lasagna.
It only takes a spark to make a fire start.
Thank you.
Study, please.
I think I finally found a place to make my own. A place that I call home. This place that I call home.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Left Bench, brought to you by Turp and Sports Central. I'm Matthew Neus, and that's Alexa Wootten. And Maryland field hockey kept on rolling, downing Michigan State on Friday, heading into its game at American on Sunday.
Yeah, the Terps have rebounded well since their loss against Rutgers 2 weeks ago. Number 9, Maryland field hockey wrapped up non-conference play with its game against American that came down to the wire. In the first quarter, Ashlyn Carr sent in a dagger from the top of the circle, and Hope Rose was able to get a touch and quick stick the ball into the cage. Terps up 1-0. American was able to find the equalizer with just under 2 minutes remaining in the first. Frederica Turina Delamagori with the backhand shot was able to get it right over Alyssa Calabasco's shoulder. It was a defensive battle until Sammy Popper took the lead for the Terps. Off the penalty corner, Lon passed the ball to Verlig. A fake pass to Holloman over to Popper, who sent a slap shot which deflected off a defender's stick into the goal. Terps left DC with the 2-1 win and maintained their perfect record in the nation's capital.
The all-time series record between Maryland women's soccer and Rutgers was dead even ahead of Saturday's game between the two. But a penalty kick with 6 minutes left of play put the Scarlet Knights on top. Maryland was outshot, especially in the first half. Rutgers ended it 10 shots over Maryland's 1. The Terps entered the second half on the front foot, finishing with 4 shots. Maryland's best offensive break came in the last 20 minutes of the game from a shot by Hannah Shapiro, who had an open lane to goal, but her strike sailed over the crossbar. Liz Beardsley came in clutch all game, and the score was deadlocked at 0 until Catherine DeRosa committed a foul in the box with just under 6 minutes left. Successful Rutgers penalty kick led the Terps to fall 1-0. Here's what head coach Megan Ryan-Nemser had to say after playing against the team that holds a special place in her heart.
That was 18 years of my life. I spent more time there than I did here, you know, but I'm so happy to be here. This is my home now, and I love my team and I love what they did. It was weird to see some of the girls that I've coached since they were like 12 years old on that field, but it was nice to, you know, see them after the game and the welcome, you know, how much they told me how much they missed me and all that stuff. So it's good to see them.
Now over to men's soccer, who took on Bowling Green on Saturday night at Ludwig, seeking a win. And on their senior night, it was Stefan Capetti and Jamie Lowell who showed out to lead the Terps to that win. The Terps opened that match playing with intensity on the offense. Maryland has struggled to finish opportunities throughout the season so far, but it was Capetti who finally found the back of the net. He struck from the top of the box, sneaking it in to give the Terps the 1-0 lead late in the first half. Bowling Green tried to find the equalizer, but Lowell's stellar performance in goal kept the Falcons scoreless for the remainder of the game. Maryland desperately needed the win, making only its second of the season. The Terps are looking to maintain this momentum to keep their hopes of a Big Ten tournament appearance alive. Here's what head coach Saso Swarovski had to say after the win.
We never lost belief in our guys or the way we do things. We challenge our guys to pay a little more attention to the details. And I thought today they played with great resolve, great humility, and a great effort. Obviously, on senior night to have Steph score a great goal is icing on the cake. But this was a very good team effort against a very good Bowling Green team. So I'm very pleased with the result, the shutout, and the performance.
Despite that win this weekend, Maryland men's soccer has struggled all season long to put the ball in the back of the net, causing us to see a very different team than we're used to.
Sam Dane joins us in Studio B with more. Sam?
Yeah, guys, we have known that they have struggled beyond anyone's wildest dreams this season, by program standards especially. But it's not just the men's team whose offense is letting them down. Both Megan Ryan-Nemser's and Sasha Swarovski's teams have struggled to do the most important thing in soccer, score. Maryland's offense has not been up to par this season, which has been a big reason why they've had so few wins this season. The Terps have lacked goal production this season, especially recently. In the last 3 games, they have combined to score 2 goals. That's a number that ranks near the bottom of the barrel in the Big Ten. But it's not just across the conference where Maryland men's soccer is struggling. It's also not living up to the program's lofty expectations. Over the past 3 full seasons in Maryland soccer's history, you can see the goals have risen exponentially over the past couple years. In 2019, it started at 1.18, rose to 1.64. Then we get all the way to 2022, last season, in which the Terps had a great year, and that number was at an outstanding 2 goals per game. Then you can see, folks, this season, that number dropped exponentially. We're down to 0.55 goals on the year, a stunning drop-off. It's been a tough year so far, and what's been the biggest reason? Well, for one, the team has brought in a bunch of new faces and lost some key players to the draft last year, including Hunter George. But it's also just bad shooting as well. With multiple players missing shots and shootouts at a low rate, it's really not expected. In the Rutgers game alone, you saw Maryland miss numerous penalty kicks that would have iced the game for the Terps. Now, onto the flip side, to Maryland women's soccer, who started off hot but has cooled off dramatically in conference play. Since Big Ten games started, the Terps rank dead last in the conference in goals, scored not by 1, not by 2, not 3, but 7 goals from the next worst team. With only 9 balls finding its way into the net, Nemzer's team has been blanked the past 6 games, including recent shutouts against Michigan State and Michigan on a little road trip for the Terps. Guys, if either of these teams wants to find a way to save their season, it's going to take a massive step up in production on the offensive side of the ball, because neither team, frankly, they're not cutting it right now. Back to you guys.
I mean, Sam, you're completely right. Look at Maryland men's soccer. Matt and I were both there Saturday night, and Stephen Competti got the goal for his team, and that's the kind of momentum you want to carry with you as you head into the back half of your season.
Yeah, that was a huge win for the Terps, to get a win for the first time since August, carry that into the next part of the Big Ten season. And for Competti as well, first goal in over a month, that will provide a huge boost of momentum as he heads into the last part of the season.
No, definitely. And stay right here, because when we come back, Matt and I are going to play a new game where we try and name that Terp.
And as always, we'll crown our Terp of the Week, Pro Terp, and the top 5 plays. Don't go anywhere.
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. That's 1 in 5 daughters, sons, neighbors, and classmates who don't know where their next meal is coming from. Yet billions of pounds of good food go to waste every year. It's time we do something about it. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide meals to millions of kids and families in need. Visit feedingamerica.org to help them feed even more. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
There's so many rewards in life. You coming into our home was one of the greatest rewards we could have ever had.
It took 20 years, and I got my 3rd child, who was 17 at the time.
It's so cool to watch the adult that you've become, and you really have done as much for us as you think we've done for you.
Welcome back to the Left Bench, brought to you by Turb Sports Central. I'm Alexa Wootten with Matthew Neus, and it's now time for another new game. Name that Turp.
Yeah, let's get after it.
So how we're going to play this game is one of our producers picked 4 Maryland athletes and gave us 3 clues to who they are. Our job is we have to name that Turp. All right, Matt, so let's start it off. I'm going to give you the first one.
All right, a lot of pressure, being the first one.
Okay, so here are your 3 clues.
Right.
Number 1, their number is number 19.
Okay.
They were on Team USA.
Okay.
And they are the 2021 Big Ten Freshman of the Year.
All right, so Team USA. So I'm trying to think of what sport would be Team USA. I'm not sure. And you said boys were 19?
19.
19. And then what was the 3rd clue?
2021 Big Ten Freshman of the Year.
So, this is bad. I actually have no idea.
Think back to who's a freshman in 21. That's
yeah,
a good way to start
I'm trying to. I don't know. Can you give me a hint, like what sport is it?
Let's say they play at the Plex.
They play at the Plex.
Oh, that's
gotta be. Hope Rose.
Yes, that is correct. Hope Rose, number 19.
Yep.
You're starting off number 2?
Hope Rose, Central Dauphin, Mid-Penn Commonwealth represent, by the way. You know, a little PA love. All right. So your first clue is that they are a captain.
Okay.
They are a midfielder.
Okay.
And they have come on the show before. So they sat here on the desk.
Okay. So captain, midfielder, on our show before.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Midfield, you know, kind of controls the
yeah.
field. Yeah.
I think I'm gonna go with for women's soccer, Catherine DeRosa.
You're right.
There we go.
Yeah. Look at us, 1 for 1.
Okay, you ready? Last one?
Yeah.
Last one?
Yeah.
Okay. Number 1 is setter.
Okay.
She's senior.
Senior, okay.
Leads the team in assists.
An assist, okay. So we know it's volleyball, so I got that this time. So that's good. Senior and a setter, correct? So I'm gonna have to go, it's Sam Sire.
No, I'll give you the hint. Starts with an S.
An S. I'm
Come on, let's think a little.
I'm trying to think. So it's not Sam Sire, that was an S, but do you have any other hits? I'm lost here.
I already gave you 4. I mean, that's more than 3.
I know.
Are we? Okay, we're gonna call it. It's gonna be Sydney Dowler.
Sydney Dowler. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, Sydney. My bad.
All right, my final one. Let's see if I can beat you out. 2 for 2.
I hope not. But, all right. So it's a wide receiver.
Okay.
Okay. He's a transfer into the program.
Okay.
And he has 4 TDs this season.
Okay.
Made a big play on Saturday at Ohio State.
I think I want to go Prather. No,
Yeah.
Prather,
Yep,
right? Prather.
yep.
Okay,
Aiden
2
Prather,
for 2.
2
Here
for
we
2.
go.
There you go.
All right, so clearly the winner of the game.
Of course, I'll give you that.
All right, I think it's about that time to name our Turp of the Week. This week's Turp of the Week is someone who has been shining all season long, and that's Maryland field hockey Margot Lawn. Lawn has been a staple in Maryland's scoring, recording 6 goals and 7 assists so far this season. And on Friday, the 5th-year senior earned a career first, a multi-goal game. Lawn started it off for the Terps with this goal in the first and finished it off with this one in the 4th, giving Maryland that nice cushion lead against Michigan State. Congrats to Margot on being our Turp of the Week.
And our pro Turp balled out in the same state where he spent all 3 years of his collegiate career. It's Chicago Bears wide receiver DJ Moore. Moore returned to Maryland when the Chicago Bears took on the Washington Commanders on Thursday Night Football, and he lit up FedEx Field and the Washington defense. He hauled in 8 catches from Justin Fields, totaling 230 yards, a new career high. Moore found the end zone 3 separate occasions, including a crucial 4th quarter score to put the Bears out of reach. Moore's performance was so good, he even got a shout out from LeBron James himself. Congrats to DJ Moore on being our pro Turp.
Now it's time for our top 5 plays of the week. Matt, let's get it started.
Yeah, let's get after it. At number 5, we go to the path where Sam Sire beats 2 Minnesota defenders at the net with a nifty kill against the Golden Gophers.
For number 4, we're going to go to Stephen Capetti's goal Saturday night. The senior striker ripped one front post right past Bowling Green's Brendan Graves.
And at number 3, we're going to stay right at Ludwig Field with Liz Beardsley's diving save against the Scarlet Knights to keep Rutgers off the board.
Number 2 is going to be Hope Rose's goal in traffic. Surrounded by Michigan State defenders in the circle, Rose is able to get her stick free and slide it right past the Spartans goalie.
And at number 1, we're going to go to the shoe in Columbus, where Caden Prather absolutely mosses this Ohio State defender with a one-handed catch to give the Terps the first touchdown of 2 in Columbus.
And I mean, what a catch from Prather. We talked about it at the beginning of the show, but the Ohio State game, Maryland came out firing on all cylinders, and I think it's safe to say that this is, not, if not the best, one of the plays of the game.
Yeah, no doubt. That was a great catch.
That'll do it for this edition of The Left Bench. Nathan Schwartz and Jonas Evans will be back at the desk next week.
Make sure to keep up with all of Terrapin Sports Central's coverage on X, Instagram, YouTube, and online at terrapinsportscentral.com.
Can't wait to see you next time.